any DMR radios. I want to know from people who are not using DMR as of now. Anybody has explored DMR? Have you looked into the radios? Do you know what digital formats are available as of now? Yes, no? Okay. So this is a slide for that explaining what are the various digital formats available. So let me just take these common protocols like NXDN, C4FM, and D star, and P25, M17, right? So as I said, the DMR was started by Motorola, and it was pretty much captive in the initial days, and then it came into public space, right? Similarly, ICOM has its own digital format which is called D star. Okay, in the basic idea is that two people can talk if they are on the same protocol. So that is the basic understanding. So if I have a D star radio, that is ICOM radio, and you have a Yaesu radio, which is a C4 FM, we cannot talk. The protocols don't match, and we will see how to have a in-between device which can translate things, etc. So we'll come to that later. But this is the different formats, right? NXDN has a 12 kilohertz bandwidth, much less 6 kilohertz bandwidth, and the other DMR formats has a 12 kilohertz bandwidth. And if you go through the various properties like primary use, voice and data, most of it, all the formats offer voice and data. And interoperability is a little difficult here, because as I said, if you want to use all these protocols, you need that many radios. If you want to use D star, you need a ICOM radio. If you want to use a C4FM, you need a Yaesu radio. And for normal DMR, you need either a Bofeng, Motorola, or Alinco radios. So, but the one advantage of using DMR is basically the audio quality is very good, and weak signals doesn't matter much here. We will see about that. So this is the various formats. This I'm going to share this deck later to. I've already shared, in fact, to Sandesh, and he can publish it in the groups. So these are the various formats in digital radio, and all of these formats are tied down to a specific vendor like ICOM and Yaesu, etc. But there is one open source format which is called M17. Okay, so this M17 is a particular protocol or a technology we can call, which is open source, which means it is like crowdsourced and crowd built by ham radio operators, our own community. And there is a particular model of radio, MD90, which is compatible with this particular M17 firmware. And you have the other radio, which is DM1801 Bofeng, which is also compatible with this particular M17 firmware. So you can upgrade these two radios with M17, and you will be able to use two time slots, TS1 and TS2. So this is another advantage, because we can manage more operators within these two time slots. We can have one time slot for repeater based and one time slot for internet based connectivity. And I think most of you would have experienced analog repeaters which are connected with Ecolink setup. So what basically this means is that you have a radio connected to an Ecolink software which is installed in some Raspberry Pi, and whatever internet signal is received, it retransmits through the radio it is connected with, and it reaches the repeater. So this is a format that we have been using to have a DX check-ins in analog repeater. Whereas in DMR, you don't need this, because the repeater itself is connected to the internet. So that way, what happens is people can use mobile apps or their DMR radios with a hotspot, which we will see in the down the line in the following slides. Various ways of connecting DMR. You can sit in Bangalore and connect to Chennai repeater, Delhi repeater, or even W91 talk group in US. Any repeaters across the world, you can use your repeater and join to the various talk groups and have QSOs. So that is these are some of the advantages of having DMR. Okay, so we are getting into the little more details in DMR. How does DMR work? Is basically I have a DMR handy, okay, and I have a DMR repeater in my city, and I'm within range. That is the first step, right? And when the DMR repeater is connected to the network, that is internet, we have a reach all over the world. I can tune to a particular talk group. Let's say Chennai talk group is 4040454. Okay, so this is VU2 Mike Whiskey Golf repeater, and this is connected to the Brandmeister server. Okay, so I can connect to this repeater and change the talk group in my handy to say WW91, which is a worldwide 91 talk group from US, and I can talk to anybody there, right? Because I'm just having an handy, I'm connected to the repeater, and I'm able to talk all over the world. All over the world, only for Brandmeister network, whoever is using the Brandmeister network. And to give you a little more details about this Brandmeister server, they have a server in almost every country, and they have more than 50,000 talk groups. So what does it mean to you? How do I put it in a more simpler way, right? See, I'm sure all of you would have at some point of time used a chat application, something like Yahoo, where we have chat groups based on specific subjects or specific city, etc. And whoever we want to talk, we will just go and join that particular talk group or a chat group and start talking to people there. That was through text keyboard, right? The same logic here we are doing through voice. So that is the difference between, that is how I can give a parallel example to DMR. And what are these networks? Brandmeister is a network which has servers all over the world, and these servers have lots of talk groups on specific subjects or specific cities where you can tune to and talk to those people, which means you can do DX sitting in your home without any large antenna or a big amplifier, etc., and talk to DX people, right? So that is the how the DMR works. And Brandmeister is one such network. There are multiple networks that you have, like TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. That is the name of a network. And there are Freestar, DMR Plus, and WireSex, and all these kind of protocols and networks are available where you can register and talk to the talk groups and operators in the talk groups. So that's one big advantage of DMR. You can switch networks. It's like, for example, you have in your mobile, you have a Geo SIM and Airtel SIM. Of course, I've been hearing a lot of QRM on this particular topic of DMR. Some say that DMR is illegal, it cannot be used, etc., etc. And the reason being said that is DMR is encrypted, etc. Right? Now let us see what is encryption and encoding. Okay, so I'm sure all of you would be very familiar with the computer formats like MP3 and JPG, TIFF, GIF, and MP4. All these are video and picture formats, right? And so these are various formats. That's what a non-technical user will say that as formats, whereas technical people who know what it is, they will say these are all various encoders and encoding. Okay, so MP3 is a different encoding, MP4 is a different encoding, whereas in the picture format, JPEG, TIFF, GIF, or PNG, all these are basically picture formats, but they have a very different types of encoding, right? So similarly, that is what we have in DMR also. All this NXG and P25, DMR, M17, all that you see is differently encoded, and it has to be decoded differently. Okay, so we also have something called transcoding, which I will talk about. So which means that somebody is transmitting in DMR and I'm having an analog handy, I will not be able to listen to them even if I tune to the same frequency that he is transmitting, right? Because the formats are different. Your analog radio is not equipped to listen to DMR signals, right? So if you have a DMR radio, assuming that you are an authentic ham operator, you have a DMR ID and you have a your call sign is associated with a DMR ID, you can always program your DMR radio and start listening. Nobody is going to say this is illegal or whatever, right? Because we are still using a frequency that is allotted to the ham operators, 433 or 144 to 146, whatever, depending upon whether you are a repeater is VHF or UHF. So that is the difference between encoding and decoding. Now coming to encryption, what is encryption and decryption? Encryption is where you have tried to transform the data into something, uh, some format that others cannot tap into, but they can only tap into it if they have the right key. Okay, so and that right key is not something that you will get it in the public domain. It has to be given to you by the creator of the encryption. Only then you will be having the decryption code. That is the difference between encryption and decryption. Encoding and decoding is public. As long as you have the right software, you can be able to use. See, for example, MS Word. It is a document format. You get it with a DOCX extension, whereas XLS comes with a XLS extension. Now, do you think you can open a Word document inside Excel? Will it show the right details? No. That is the difference, because Word is encoded differently and Excel is encoded differently. So you need the right software to decode this. So similarly, your C4FM, P25, M17 are all different formats. You need the right radio to receive it. Whereas the same document, let's say MS Word document, I have password protected it and I'm sharing it in the net. Now who will be able to open? Nobody will be able to open, right? Of course, I'm not talking about all those black hats and white hats, kind of gray hats, kind of hackers. But in the normal sense, if I don't give the password, which is the key to decode that or open that document, nobody will be able to open it. So that is encryption. You can, at a basic level, you can say that particular document is protected. The second level is the actual encryption, where I change all the A's to say Z's and all the B's to say Y. That is the sort of encryption. Just giving a very simple example. Now, unless I tell you that all the Z's are A's and all the Y's are X or whatever is the combination, I give you that combination, you will not be able to make head or tail of the document that I'm giving you. Or even if I put it on the net, nobody is going to know. So that is encryption and decryption. And DMR is not encrypted. I just want to make it very clear that DMR is not encrypted. Okay, so now we are going to see what are the options to join a DMR network. Now the first is, of course, you have to be a valid ham operator with a valid call sign, and you need to take a DMR ID. You have to go to a site called radioid.net and give your you give your call sign and upload your license. They will give you a DMR ID within a day. And then you are ready to join any DMR network. Okay. And then you will take that and go and register your call sign in Brandmeister TG. Mhm. See, it is all about advantage. Every technology has a purpose. So I'm not saying that analog is going to die down now, right? People in the aviation world are still using AM. Whereas if you see locally, AM is, I would say, not much popular. Yes, we have broadcast bands, but even for the flight communication, they are using AM. So analog is going to stay definitely. There might be, maybe a possibility. We have seen all that. We have seen the CD drives come and go. We have seen USB drives come and go. Now we have faster 5G connection. Now nobody is using saved MP3 songs in folders. They directly stream it, right? So it's possibility there. There's nothing hard and fast about it. But I would still say AM, this analog is going to stay for some more time. I can easily say that. So there is no question of eventually that might happen. We have a lot of examples for that. All your 2G mobile phones of Nokia died, and we had 3G, 4G, and Nokia was nowhere in picture, right? Now we have 5G enabled phones, and nobody is storing songs these days. Directly they use it from Spotify and many other streaming apps. So we have to take it that way. Okay, any other questions before we move on? We are actually delayed for the next part, but yes, please go ahead.
Thanks, Lord. This is VU2FFW. Sorry, my throat is not working. During this session, I have registered on DMR. Got the DMR ID also. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very fast conversion. Okay, yes, we will come to that. We'll take it offline. Okay, but I will show you some of the things that will answer your question. Okay, yes.
So I'm a newbie, so VU3IJY. I tried with radioid.net. I'm just recently trying it out, but I am getting errors. I think it's more predominantly for the global market than Indian market. Any suggestions on that?
What is that? I didn't get you. Maybe just
radio ID.
Yes, you signed up in Radio ID. What happened?
I tried. It was showing an error when I uploaded the document.
Okay.
Maybe I might catch up with you after this.
Sure. See, usually they don't get into any issues. Okay, if your license is straightforward, all correct, they will give you the ID. Okay, we'll catch up on that. Yeah. Okay. So let me move on to answer your question. These are some of the hardware and software setup we can use. On the left, you can see a hotspot, that is a simplex hotspot, and at the bottom we have a duplex hotspot. Now, what is the difference between simplex and duplex? Duplex, you can have both TS1 and TS2 configured. Slot 1 and slot 2 configured. That means if you have two radios, right, in one you have configured slot 1 channels and another you have configured slot 2 channels, you can transmit to this hotspot simultaneously, which is something like you just press PTT of both the radios and start talking. Each will be tuned to a different talk group, of course, or maybe the same talk group if they have enabled 2 time slots. So you can transmit that one. So that is different, but practically I have not come across a kind of situation where I need to do that. And another thing is you need 2 radios for that, right? So that is the difference. And then this is a globetrotter dongle and Euronode simplex hotspot. Now the difference between the simplex MMDVM and the Euronode is nothing. It is just the origin country. The MMDVM comes from China. This Euronode concept comes from Netherlands of DMR users. So that's all about DMR, and we have to fast track our APRS presentation. So any questions before we move on to the next topic? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Developed by Bob with a call sign WB4APR, and that's where it gets its name, right? And see, regular packet services, it is different because this data can be superimposed on a map, and it can do WX data, position data, beaconing, and the beaconing can be in CW mode and voice mode. Anything is possible. So that is when you compare this with the satellite telemetry, what you get from satellite telemetry is basically an RSI number and a few details as to the position of the satellite and the signal strength kind of things, right? Here it gives a live positioning. That is the difference. In the satellite, when you get the telemetry, it is always sort of passive. Once you get it, that means after that it is going to change. Whereas here in APRS, we get live data, live positioning. So when I have APRS running from my setup and I place that setup in my car, the other APRS users can track where I am going, where I am moving. So that is the difference between regular packet data and APRS The difference is that it is live. So as I said, right, APRS features, we have a lot of features here. One is GPS tracking, weather and telemetry data, group messaging. We can do group messaging to other users, and map displays, which I'll show you down the line. And we can also do bulletins and fixed station tracking. So these are some of the features, and all of these are pretty common. I think I don't need to explain what it is, right? Which is very common and understandable from the name. Okay. So this is a high-level picture of how APRS works, right? So I have a handy with GPS enabled and APRS settings configured, and that connects to digipeaters or iGates. The signal is passed, and through that it is going to internet, and anybody who is monitoring the APRS map can see can see me where I am. So, and it can be either real-time positioning or WX telemetry, or any other position beaconing like CW beaconing. All of this can be visible from the from a particular location through for other users. Okay. So before going to the setup, any questions on the APRS? Okay, fine. So we have, see, there are many setups possible in APRS, but what I'm covering is only the sort of top two, or the most useful ones, right? The first option is where your radio has everything. It has an APRS mode in itself, built by default, and it also has GPS features enabled, the options available. So all you have to do is configure your settings, and you are on. Just connect it with a proper antenna, and you are on. So that is the first setup. And some of the radios that has these options are Yaesu, Kenwood, and Alinco, Bofeng, and Anytone 878 UV and 578 UV base stations. So all these radios has APRS mode enabled, or the settings and configuration is the only thing that we need to do. And the second option is more of a do-it-yourself option, kind of, where similar to your analog repeater and echo link, you need to install a particular software called Direwolf, and that software is installed in a Raspberry Pi and connected to a radio. And within that, the option is either you can connect it as an iGate or a digipeater. So we will see the differences about it. So these are the two options available. And here is how digipeater works. So digipeater, basically what it does is it's connected to the internet. It receives your call sign, receives the call sign, and if it is your call sign that it has to digipete, it will validate the call sign, and with your ESS ID, which is a unique serial number, and see whether it has to repeatedly do it or do it at intervals. So these are this is how digipeater works. And this is all done through the configuration of the Direwolf in your Raspberry Pi. Okay, this is about how iGate works. Now iGate, what is the difference between digipeater and iGate is, digipeater means is only the Raspberry Pi without the radio connected. And whereas an iGate, you have a radio connected, which means you can receive local RF packets and then push it to the internet through your iGate, right, which is connected to the radio, connected to the Raspberry Pi. And it is working is similar, except that here we have the APRS IS coming into picture, which is a server where it is connected to a specific server and it transmits the data to that one. So what happened? So Direwolf setup and digipeater and iGate automobile car, so that you can see others, and others can see you also where you are moving. So that's all about APRS. If you have any questions, we can take it now. Otherwise, I'm done with APRS also. Okay, so APRS, right? Again, it is the same. If you are connected, if you are on a bigger antenna, and there are several other users within your city of APRS, you will be able to receive all of them. But if you are only on a ducky antenna, you may not be able to receive every one of them, irrespective of what they are probably using. Some might be on external antenna, some might be on a ducky antenna. So you may receive the external antenna guys if you are within the range, otherwise no. But if you set up, let's say this setup in your car, your mobile antenna will do work great for you. Yes, you need an antenna only for the first option. Yes. Others you don't need an antenna because your hotspot comes with a small antenna and that is going to be within your shack. Yes, sir. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. No, 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 no. No, no. See, APRS is slightly different. Now, DMR, what happens? You transmit when you pick up the PTT and speak, right? In APRS, what happens? You set, yes, you set intervals at what time you need to transmit. So, if it is your position beacon or an object beacon, you in the configuration file, you will set intervals every 15 minutes, every 1 hour, etc., etc. Hmm. Right. Correct. So that's what I'm saying. If you are going to set